you so much for staying with this frequency, and we promise that you're going to have a fantastic time if you tag with us from now to 7 p.m. My name is Kimberly Wachko, call me Kim, the Oracle, it's Digital Oracle, OTF, the Fellow, or Chanya One, Madam Speaker, and I'll say yes to them all.
My name is Dickon Itodo. Great to be here this Monday. The weekend just went by quickly. I'm not sure what happened, but yes, I had a great time. Thank you for asking. And there's something that came to mind over the weekend, and that's how we need to work on being orderly, being better organized as a people when interventions come through. Because I was reading the report as to what happened in Lagos, and we spoke about what the customs was doing, slashing the price of bags of rice, selling it to those who really need it, and people lost their lives in the process because there was a stampede. Everyone trying to get their share of the bag of rice in good time, and it's just worrisome that it could have gone round if we're better coordinated and not resulting to the loss of lives like we've.
I quite agree with you. We've seen tons of this situation where people would just be so impatient and properly is it indisciplined or undisciplined? Indisciplined to the point where we can't just coordinate ourselves. Personally, it's from the fear of, if I do not push my way to the front, it might not get to me and all of that. But people die. You mentioned the case. I mean, I saw the video and I heard one from Lagos. At least one person was stomped and all of that. And at the end of the day, it's all chaotic. So there's a lot of lesson for us to learn about being very orderly. From going for job interviews in the immigration saga sometime back where people died because everybody was pushing, everybody was shoving themselves, till, fighting and shoving for food at the end of the day. It's quite sad. So there's a lot of work to do in that regard. But then it's also very pathetic that we've come to a point where people will have to be shoving and pushing and struggling to get, a bit of the portion of food. Does it tell the state of hunger we're dealing with, or this level of impatience and indiscipline we're dealing with, or what exactly? I'm asking a silly question, I hear someone say, because yes, we've been talking about the economic hardship, the cost of living, and the level of hunger in the country at the moment. And perhaps that's why at the 5 o'clock hour, we're also going to focus on the intervention by the government. In July 2023, President Tinubu said he declared a state of emergency on food insecurity and did say they were going to do everything to fight hunger and the related issues to it. So we'll be looking at how far they've come with some of their interventions in the strategic areas that they mentioned. But on the roundtable, one of the big stories for us is the fact that the protest continues, and we are seeing it hit the street of Lagos ahead of the 27-28 NLC protest, which, in spite of the warning from the DSS that they should rethink the process because it might be hijacked, even though some group have decided to pull out of it. But it feels like the protest is going to go on, and pockets of other protests have already started building around the NLC protest tomorrow. Can anything really be done to addressing this? And is there fear that this will escalate if we've not managed it properly?
Now, Human Rights Group has on Monday hit the streets of Lagos State to protest against the soaring price of food and high cost of living in the country. Now, this protest was held against the warning issued by the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Adegoke Fayoade, on Sunday. According to him, the police are aware of the plan by some people to protest in the state and will ensure that necessary measures are put in place for the safety of the lives and properties of Lagosians. He stressed that nothing would hinder the free flow of traffic or a peaceful environment to let residents carry out their lawful duties. The protesters were seen carrying placards of various inscriptions at the Ojuelegba under the bridge area of the state to make their grievances known on the current economic hardship across the country. And speaking with correspondents, they were said to give insight into what was happening with the protest. It was a demonstration of the people's will against oppressive tendencies and hardship. And also looking at NLC's preparation for the protest, police have issued fresh warnings as about 65 groups have pulled out of that warning protest meant to kickstart tomorrow against the rising cost of living in the country. Now, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Nanuga, and the police handed down warnings as 65 civil society groups on Sunday pulled out of this planned demonstration, warning against its possible hijack, arguing that it could worsen the deteriorating situation. If you recall, last week DSS also gave out a warning stating that there were fears that it could be hijacked as well. But why do we always look at the negatives? With the question people are asking, how about the fact that this will draw the government's attention, even though it knows what's happening in the country and how hardship has literally hit a lot of Nigerians? Why do we always look at the negatives of everything that we're about to, or what Nigerians do to draw
perhaps
attention
maybe
to
from record, the propensity for certain things happening, if certain things happen and all of that, it's easy to plot and do the graph. But one thing, like you mentioned, always looking at the negative, it's the fact that we've not also found new ways of addressing it, the what ifs, the maybes, the buts that might come from having people vent. It's a democracy. You can't tell people not to register their displeasure at setting policies, governance, or the running of the affairs of the country. It's not the military. Even under the military, there are people who have braved it and gone out on the street to say, we're not comfortable with how you're managing the affairs of the nation. A democracy gives you that liberty to really express yourself, to say this isn't going as planned and this isn't what you were voted in for. Find a way to addressing it. But we always look at it from a political lens, like, there's an attempt to usurp the government, to disrupt governance, to just take something away instead of adding to the collective process of everyone being involved at the end of the day. Now, a big question is, why isn't the police, the DSS, and all the other agencies being proactive enough to saying, how can we better manage it? We know people are going to come out, and we're already seeing pockets of people come out. What's the best and effective strategy to managing the number of people who are going to come out on the street? Also, with the intel that they have, that it might be hijacked. What does hijack mean in the Nigerian context of a protest? You perhaps will have people who are coming out and saying, we support all the policies by government. The government is doing its best. Give the government some time and all of that. And then you perhaps would have some infiltrators who might want to use the moment to perhaps maybe hijack, loot, steal. There'll be pockets of them. People are hungry. You saw the video coming from Kaduna, Abuja, Suleja route where they were protesting, and there was also a report of removing food from some van. We've seen it in Niger State. So there's also the tendency that it might happen in some parts also where it's not properly organized. But it's now left for the security to put its head together to say, we have the tendency of these things happening. How do we check? How do we manage to ensure that people exercise their right to protest and yet we keep things under control?
Now, the TUC has also pulled out of the protest. Initially, it was the TUC and NLC who had an agreement to go on this warning strike, 27th and 28th, to draw the government's attention to all that's happening. But seeing that they've pulled out, it's somewhat brought a bit of questioning as to if indeed the protest will make any difference. Because we've seen the same thing happen over and over again. Are protests that effective? What other measures can these labor unions use to better get the government to maybe adhere to their end of the agreement, as opposed to having protests that Nigerians are not also trusting of, because they feel the dying minute, once they've already made plans to go on this protest, they call it off, and then a few months down the line, we also get back to the conversation as to going on another protest again. So I think it's...
At this point, NLC has a lot at stake, really. If they pull out last minute, the major body, yes, you can see TLC, you can already see the fraction or within their plans and all of that. Once one significant arm decides to step back, it weakens the strength of whatever it is they intend to do, honestly. So it's been weakened, and it just might be effective negotiation on the part of government or their own effective strategy to weakening their strength and the capacity of just shutting down the economy if they intend to do that tomorrow. But then it will also create even more worsening impression of the NLC if they don't go through with this, because a good section of the country believe that they're a two-legged bulldog. They've covered several protests before and strike in which last minute they had to cancel, last minute they weakened the intensity of it, and people are saying, we don't trust NLC anymore. There are people who have that reservation already, so that might even affect whatever it is NLC plans for tomorrow. Those who are skeptical and saying, we're not going to come out, we don't trust the NLC. Last minute, midnight, they might have talks with the government, and government will promise to fast track the production of fuel from Kaduna refinery or something, and then it changes. So it's left for us to see how NLC pulls this one and convince people to come out. People like V and her canvas that is ready to be out tomorrow to register displeasure at how it's going. But we'll get to feel the pulse of Nigerians on the effectiveness of any NLC protest. And given the fact that we've had pockets of protest building in parts of the country, who knows? It just might give it some traction. People will just say, okay, with this one and that one put together, I gave it a bit more, force altogether.
Well, let's not also forget the private sector, who are also going through what the federal government workers are going through as well. And the fact that the NLC and TUC focus on those set of people, the private sector also needs to have their representation, wherein they are also considered in the grand scheme of things and whatever plans the government is going to put in place to ensure that there's a bit of cushioning effect to the hardship that the average Nigerian is currently going through at this point in time. And I'm just, hoping and worried. With the last strikes, we've seen the power sector being shut down as well. And as opposed to for some people being able to do other things on the side, is that suffering that is intensified because you don't have electricity for a long period. Businesses are also made to grapple with having to spend way more than usual. And right now, with what they are spending, you don't want to add further hardship to what it is that they're going through with some of these sectors that might be shut down if the strike were to go on.
All right, so that's one big story we're looking at today as more protests spread in different parts of the country ahead of the NLC strike or protest tomorrow, the 27th. Is it 27th, 28th? In spite of the fact that we have some bodies that are pulling out of the grand protest on its own. Well, one, we'll be looking at the effectiveness of this from your perspective. You think it's going to pull any weight? The NLC can't pull any weight in terms of forcing the arm of the government to rethink and perhaps recalibrate their policy at the moment to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. And then let's move on to another story, also looking at the state. Now, some people have said that there's a lot of focus on the federal government when we talk about the hardship, the economic situation, and we're downplaying the role of the state governors and state government in the big picture here. I mean, we run a federal system. The states get their allocation. We have governors who are the executive of their territories, and you're expected to also be one step ahead to think, to add, beyond just coming up with measures to cushion the effect, like we've seen for Lagos State, to saying we're cutting down work hours, we're slashing transportation. Good. However, you also want to look at what move are you making to improve the economic situation as provided by law within your state. And then given the fact also that since subsidy was removed, allocation, it feels like has increased, even though others will argue and say, see, you remove subsidy, you float the naira or regularize monetary policy to a certain extent. It kind of devalued the naira. And so if a state was getting 5 billion and now you give them 9 billion, technically, it feels as if you've given them more since you removed subsidy. But have you really given them more, given the fact that the naira value has indeed depreciated? And what you could have achieved with 5 billion, you would now do with 10 billion. So it cancels out itself in terms of what you've done. But then they're also looking at the state. The overall revenue of about 5.1 trillion naira received by the state includes about 2.69 trillion that came directly from the federal account, 1.975 trillion disbursed to local government account that is controlled by state governors, and about 441.929 billion as 13% solid mineral derivation revenue issued to state. Now, the leadership is now interrogating some of this as to what the states have received and what they are doing. But then it's one for you when you go through it, you start to think, if you look at the naira, even you going to the market, you admit to it that the price of things have almost gone up 75%. So it means that whatever the governors are doing, except for salary, which is like the basic recurrent expenditure that has not increased for them, there. And then they also got support from the federal government in terms of palliative grant and whatever it is, we call whatever that happened, to alleviate and cushion the effect. How much of it has changed and improved the economic situation at the state level? Is there a state or two or three perhaps that is managing the situation a bit more and improving on itself? I mean, can you really look at state and look at what they're doing beyond the federal government? I mean, the system we run in Nigeria sometimes can blind us to what states are doing, and it's a collective. If states are improving, the sum total of it will translate to a better outlook on the national level. But if the states are underplaying and we kind of deflect from them and focus on only the federal government, it will still be a big problem for us.
No.
I see you're saying they are disowning palliative. Akpabio was saying, share people receive, was it 30 billion?
30 billion, yeah.
And they're saying, no, we did not receive 30. How much did you people receive and what did you do with it on the state level?
Did they even get anything at all in the first place? Because, I mean, the only very few states that we hear in the news are doing something different, not depending or waiting on the federal government to sort out whatever issues they're going through. And we know that it's not one size fits all. Every state needs to find ways for it to come up with measures that would help ease whatever pressures the residents of that state are going through. Lagos State always comes in conversation because they're good with putting out word as to what exactly they're doing. We've also heard about Borno State as well. Zulum also doing having various measures in place to ensure that the residents of that state are confident or comfortable rather in the best way possible. Even though he's also issued a warning to the IDPs there who threatened that if they are not sorted out in good time,
going to the bush
they'll join the Boko Haram sect or join whatever sects are in place to bring about insecurity in the state. Ogun State as well comes into the conversation, and they've been trying to find palliatives and ways to ease the pressures as well. But states need to do more. We have a lot of more states which we need to hear from. Is it possible that they're doing these things silently and not necessarily looking for the attention of the press, or just want to ensure that whatever measures they put in place are working first before they put out word? But it's also important that whatever it is the federal government is doing, the state governors or government is there as well to be able to cushion and supplement and just be there as in ensuring that if A is not working, you have other options, to try out. And in trying out those options, you put measures in place that would help the residents, citizens more comfortable and maybe ease pressures from states that are doing well. Thereby moving into your state. And there's lots of options we can try out, but it just feels as though the state governors are not doing enough, and it's just the dependence on the center, and putting all that pressure on the center, and then it seems as though whatever measures are in place are not effective enough because it's overburdened by everyone focusing on the center. Yeah.
So yes, 5.108 trillion naira in 8 months allocations to states, and the hunger persists in spite of also the grants and support to alleviate the suffering. The economic situation worsens and the cost of living situation increases. Purchasing strength of the average Nigeria weakens significantly. You start to really look at how much support is the state governors bringing in. We'll get your take on that in a bit also. And the army has come out to clarify whatever rumor is making the round, is saying, we want to hold up on this a bit because there is no fact to the statement that you put out, addressing a publication by an online paper that alleged that the military is on some sort of high alert over coup plot attempts in the country. The defense headquarters has debunked it, claiming that the Guard Brigade has been put on high alert due to suspicion of a coup plot over the prevailing economic hardship. The Guard Brigade is responsible for protecting the State House, the Federal Capital Territory, and its environs. And in a statement today, Tukur Gusau, acting director of Defense Information, said the publication is malicious and unfounded as there's no plot of a military takeover. The Defense Headquarters wishes to categorically state that the allegation is totally false. It is to be noted that the Guard Brigade have always been on high alert in order to effectively execute its assigned task. And the DHQ strongly condemned this unsubstantiated assertion, which is just a figment of imagination of the publisher, and enjoin members of the public to disregard it. The DHQ has called on relevant security agencies to immediately take appropriate action against the publisher of the article. Gusau said the Defense Headquarters would seek legal redress against the publisher, adding that the publication has an ulterior motive of creating unnecessary tension in the country, and said Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, has repeatedly reiterated the commitment of the military to protect and sustain democracy in Nigeria. They responded swiftly to this because it feels as if, there's just a palpable tension in the air, and you don't want to let anything marinate for too long before you quickly deal with it and not give the false impression. But then you also look at why more people, because I've seen a few thoughts on social media and even read, the thought of people, how they responded to it when it broke. I think it was Sahara Reporters, that was the online paper that put this report out. And a lot of people were like, oh, okay, all right. But then there were all those who were also telling Nigerians, you want to hold up a bit, don't be in a hurry. Careful what you wish for with this whole gravitating towards a coup. Given the impression that the military is going to do any better, have we forgotten our history, like in a hurry? I mean, go back to how we had the military control the affairs of the country up until 1999, where we wrestled power back into civilian hands. And ask yourself if we were any better off at that point in time, really. There were a lot of fundamental rights that were taken away from people. And the military, why are we making them sound as if they are a different crop of people from outside Nigerians who have not drank the Nigerian water and breathed the Nigerian air, and very typical of the Nigerian way of doing things, coupled with the military way of doing things. So thinking that they're going to come and fix what exactly? Fix your electricity, fix water, fix the human capital index, fix your freedom of speech and expression. Well, if they could, perhaps they would have fixed it in the years that the military was controlling it, but they didn't. As a matter of fact, corruption was heightened under the military rule, enough for Nigerians to say, okay, we're running from this corruption thing, but it feels like it wasn't. So let's go back to civilian administration. We can't be that disorganized enough to want something and not want it and then want it again.
Well, corruption is corruption. Whether if it's a lot or less, it's the same, word, and it has the same meaning. But people are, comparing how Nigerians were living back in the day, saying life was a lot more easier compared to right now when a public office holder gets into office.
When was it really easy? Was it Babangida's time when they were talking about structural adjustment program and people were lamenting and parents were even schooling their children on why you should eat more of millet to rice because of what it costs? I mean, seriously, when?
If you never lived in the times, you would just assume it was good based on whatever it is you read or what you were told. But a lot of people are just comparing, and they feel like back in the day it was easier. Life was more straightforward and more structured for them compared to what we see right now, where there's a focus on the wrong things. But I think it's important that we get to a point where everyone is accountable for whatever office or positions that they get into, which is something that we don't see a lot. There's like a free flow of whatever it is you want to do, and you get away with it without necessarily getting any repercussions. So I think it's important that we focus on ways to move forward as a country and as one people, and not who would do better if we were to go back in time. If we had to make the progress we've made right now, if we were to, have people take power by force, like we've seen in other African countries, I think that's where the tension is coming from. The thought that, what if we were to go the line of these other countries? Maybe things would change for the better in Nigeria. So that could be it.
All right, let's open up the phone lines, expand conversation by bringing you on board. So feel free to call us up on 0700 951 0000 or 0809 5974869, or you can call via WhatsApp on 0809 9930137. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. Same with YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. It means you can leave your thoughts there and we'll read as many of them as possible. Let's start with the comments.
All right, going on to Facebook, Moazo John Lasisi, watching in Buari. Engineer GP Bernard Alikbang Akolo Michael says our leaders need to do something because the cost of living is getting out of hand. Happy to see you guys in the studio. Good afternoon, Prince Lata Aaron. Let's see what you're saying on YouTube as well. Lawal Mohammed, thank you for joining in. Trying to get to my WhatsApp here. It's taking a minute to
Have you read
open.
Facebook?
Yes, I have. Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, then. And Adebarri Awodere says, the question is, even under the so-called democracy, are we better off? Everything has happened. I understand the military rule has happened 10 times under democracy also. So for the security agencies to always say that a peaceful protest will be hijacked is a failure on the side to protect citizens and politics. Who would hijack the protest? Late Lawrence Akobi, one-time police commissioner in the FCC, used to provide security himself for all protests in Abuja during his tenure. My happiness is that security agencies are also facing the current economic predicament, says Mr. Godwin from Area 11. We're not ready to change our situation. In order to climb, People work to turn things around. Here in Nigeria, they're asked to pray for our leaders. We are very religious, and the more we pray for our leaders, the more they refuse to change. I'll be the last person to engage in this endless exercise. Enough of the deception, says Leo. Now, the federal government should allow the importation of rice by opening the borders for now, and some state governors have prohibited the moving of foodstuff from their state. It's a dangerous trend because oil-producing state can decide to say through the federal control oil, but would not allow it taken from our state. So watch out, says Mr. Wealth. People should come out and express their feelings. I'm in total support of it, someone wrote. Please write your name next time. I'm crying here again, thinking about it. God, please rest her. So, okay, that's from way back. Listening live from my hometown, Afipo. I lost my mom on Valentine's Day in Abuja, so brought her remains was there. Sorry about that. May her soul rest in peace.
Amen.
All right, then. And I cited the number requested. Okay, that's different. Story is about Nigerians impatient about everything, in business, in relationship, in family affairs, in ambition, and even in politics and governance. I guess every Nigerian should read or watch a documentary on the Great Depression and see why they should be patient in every aspect of their existence. Peace in Nigeria, says Banki from Utako. And Una, where they say the other guy is... All right, that's completely different from what we're talking about. So let's go to the phone lines.
Good afternoon. Hello? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. The king.
Welcome to the show.
My sister, this is Adewumi calling. Dicky, let me ask you, what's your name on Facebook? Because you be like, now that one will use past time now.
My same name, Itodo. Itodo, that's the name on Facebook.
Okay. I thought maybe you change your name. That's why. Thank you. On the issue of a protest, Labour should do it well. If they know that they will use us to they do caricature in the night now, they will go make Tinubu inside pillar, Brian Bello will follow them, go out. They should leave us alone. But if they mean well that they want this everything to be alright, they should not talk about only workers. They should talk about entire nation. If I'm using 16,000 square in a day, you can imagine they are increasing fuel at our own eye. Every day, 10 all these big men, all the owner of these places, and their fuel is not good. Nobody is going after them. The Labour should talk about those ones. The ego of the Mr. President is to bring it down. Bring the subsidy back. Bring it back. Unless, if they want us to believe them, they should let us protest for the entire nation.
All right.
Only 2.5%, 2% people. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Bring it back. Unless, if they
Good afternoon.
Good
afternoon, sir, Mr. Itodo and Kim. This is Oluwachid on the line.
Welcome, Chidi.
Yes, sir. We are the citizens of this country. We have every right to protest. We have every right to come to tell the government that what you are doing to the market is wrong. The citizens' office is the greatest office in this land. Just upon a time when there was a president led by Goodluck Jonathan, this same Mr. President currently, and Buhari, and Mr. Shoyinka, and some civil society organizations who have come up now to become very dumb. They don't want to talk. They led serious protests. They occupied Nigeria, occupied the whole of the cities, to say that Goodluck Jonathan should reverse the subsidy back then. You know, said. At the end of the day, because of the kind of peaceful man who Goodluck Jonathan is, he listened and reversed it. Okay? Now, this man currently now is trying to make Nigerians live in a very hard life. We are living in a very difficult situation, and he feels that he cannot listen. He led a protest, and everybody, the whole city was shut down. And nobody hijacked such a process. So we should not be listening to them or the security when they say that people will be hijacked. It is a wrong dimension.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, my brother.
Welcome.
God bless you. My name is...
Your name is?
My name is Kineda. I call it from Nasarawa.
Go ahead.
You see, there is something making me laugh here. This issue of police giving a warning. I don't understand. Every morning, if you listen to Women Rights Radio, police people food, they are complaining that they never pay their salary. They are dying for hungry. Every blessed morning, they are on Women Rights Radio. I'm a family. But now, Nigeria wanted to see sufferness everywhere. The same this government in 2014 is the one leading the protest. He didn't let the president, Goodluck Jonathan, to drink water and keep calm. But since when he entered this government, Nigeria is facing happy, and they don't want Nigeria to express their feelings. I'm appealing to everybody in this country to come out to tell him that he's ruling. That the people in the rule, the real animals. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon.
Hello, Kimberly.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Itodo.
Welcome.
Thank you. Donald from Niger State. Kimberly, I learned something from Reverend Father Kuka. Reverend Father Kuka said that the definition of government is to force you to do what you don't want to do, but to give you what you want. But this system of our democracy, it's not like that. I don't see the difference between the military rule and the democracy of government. In a democracy, why the INEC chairman will come out and tell that the RF will refuse to offload? Is it democracy? So I think we are not supporting the military to take over, but they should be lawful. They should be lawful. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Simon Matthew TV, we see you on YouTube saying that the military should just be careful as the call for coup is becoming stronger. And if nothing is done to get things fixed, it might happen, he said. He also went into the security agency should provide protection for protesters instead of siding a government that is the cause of why they're coming out to protest in the first instance.
Good afternoon.
Itodo.
Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon, Onyeka Shinada in Kuje.
Go ahead, Onyeka.
Honestly, constitutionally, we have the right to protect. And police is also give a level environment. This is mandated by constitution. Everyone should do that, do the needful. And the government will look at Nigerians, see that Nigerians are suffering. That suffer in the land, the business is not moving on. Business is not moving very well. Things are not. Look at the cement, carotene. People are not even building. So nothing is going well in this country. Look at the way the people add their 10 naira in fuel when we went to go back for the 10 naira. Who is making all these things? The refinery is not working. So that is a good evidence to protest. A good one that everyone should be supported. Whether you are a uniform person or you are anybody, you should be supported. Thank you very much. I have a nice question.
All right. Welcome.
Yes, Itodo.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's about Sanjo from Amali.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Nigerians, anybody that does not come out for this protest is the number one problem of this country. Original one. Why? Because we cannot have a government that will say things and you people will tell us the same thing, they will not reverse it. The same government that will call, that say the subsidy has been removed. 1 month we have gained more than 1.something trillion in a month for that subsidy removal. Then we'll pay salary, we'll increase salary, we'll pay student loan. So all these things, they were there. Our refinery will work from October until December. Then we'll buy a lot of buses that will easier the masses of the country up to date. Not simply one thing, and the DSS and the police and whoever that will come up on board
and say, what kind of tourism is that? Is it not a government? It's polarizing the people.
All right, Obasanjo.
The government that you people need to question the government. Why? Because they have promised the citizens and they failed that promise.
All right.
You want from the citizens.
All right, Obasanjo.
Hey, Itodo.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear from more people. Remember, straight to the point. Let's hug the line.
Good afternoon.
Yes. I don't come.
Welcome. What's your name?
Itodo International.
Yes.
The great Kim.
You're welcome.
Oracle, the Oracle. Wow, I wonder why the whole Oracle, you people will be looking at the country and things are not moving. Even the Oracle said they supposed to come with the spirit of our so and do their own protest in their own way. Anyway, this is about what is on ground now don't pass protest. We need to shut down the country, Gabadaya. Because the economy now has been shut down. Pata, nothing is working. You buy something 1 naira today, tomorrow is 2 naira 50 kobo. Next tomorrow, you can't even predict that, okay, next tomorrow now, this thing I bought it last week, maybe by now, the price will still be this, or add like 50 kobo. Now, lie. We need to shut down the whole nation.
How would that help? Elder, shutting down the entire country, how would that help? Would that not aggravate the situation?
It will aggravate any situation. See, the system on ground now, the system has passed that let's call a whole, but not an agricultural implement. A whole na whole. Let's be realistic. You know, they shut the country the other time. We need to do the same thing. Why are they not saying that it's not healthy for labor to go on site? Not even try. Shut down the whole thing. Last year, when they said that refinery will start work, I said it here on this part. I said Tinubu never come out talk about refinery. It was the labor that say refinery will start work by December. And at the end of the day, December came. I said we should wait and see what will happen. That refinery will start work. They say mechanical, chemical. I bet they forget all those things.
Okay,
we need to shut down.
All right.
Shut down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's look at a few more comments and we'll take more calls after. Do we have somebody waiting online? Hello?
Yeah, we do. Hello.
Good afternoon, Kim.
Yeah, welcome.
Good afternoon, the young Deacon Itodo.
Good afternoon.
This is Wilson Emmanuel.
Go ahead, Wilson.
Kim and Itodo, we do not need even the Oracle to tell us that the situation is very bad. Not just bad, terribly bad. Now, the government, people are passing through hard times. Allow us to cry out. Nobody is coming out with gun. People are coming out for peaceful protest. Whether it's going to change the situation or not, like Kim had asked, let people express their feelings. Perhaps it will ease them off of all that they are going through. The military, they are saying they are going to hijack. I hope we didn't have a voice in the military era. I hope progressively we will not get to the state where we will not have a voice, even in the civilian government. Why? Allow the people to come out to protest. If you have any thought that it's going to be hijacked, you'll be there to protect. You'll be there to take care of all those things. Why would they suffocate people when they are suffering? I want to leave it on this note. After God, the most powerful human being on earth is the Nigerian president. Once you're a president, you don't care whether people cry, whether people die. It doesn't shake them. It doesn't move them. Nobody can do anything about it. It is quite unfortunate. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Maybe not on earth, but in your country, Nigeria, yes, the most powerful. It comes from that office of the president. Let's look at comments.
All right. Going on to the WhatsApp platform to take some of your comments. Okay.
Still not up there?
Well, mine is taking a minute.
Okay. What's happening now in the country is more than be careful. Everybody should be involved in one way or the other. Mr. EOD from Kuje. Napoleon listening from Enugu, thank you for joining us, Napoleon. Yes, go out and protest, but don't touch government infrastructure, private individual businesses. Yes, President Tinubu protested in the past, but state infrastructure and private businesses were not burnt or stolen. Omenka John from Yanya, which is usually the fear when you have large number of people coming out and it's not properly coordinated. That tendency for miscreants to jump on it and, do some damage. On Atiku's advice to Tinubu, well, we didn't look at that, so let's move on. I honestly do not see the government being moved by the protest because all seem right in the eyes of the pilot, who is Mr. President. I pray the protest remains peaceful as tagged. And those calling for coup are mischief maker. When military comes back, it'll be worse. During Buhari, nobody called for a coup. Let's be patient with Tinubu. God bless Nigeria. Akafred from Suleja. And Ukwa breadfruit is 4,500 in Mudu. It says Ifeanyi in Kubwa. Well, men know the price of stuff.
Giving us the update. Now I know.
We get more updates from men than women right now.
Right.
About Nigerian protests is that they should be destroying government property, just like what happened in Lagos and other states during NSAS. Please, let's be careful without destroying government properties to demand for our right. Mohammed from Idu in Abuja sent that one in. And look at this story. Good evening. Jide Martin Zulu, the Nigerian police has reportedly sealed up the Lagos office of the Nigerian Labour Congress, blah, blah, blah. All right, then we'll look at it.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Itodo and Madam Kim. I greet you. Good afternoon, ma.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Omotayo, reaching you from Galatimawa. Yes, Madam Kim and Dr. Itodo, the both of you will agree with me that it's a different case when, as a Nigerian citizen, you have a 9-to-5 job that you know that at the end of the month, something will shall come in for you, whether you are in the public sector or you are in the private sector. And it's a different thing when you are a Nigerian citizen that your life depends on business. Business. If nothing comes in from business, then you are shut down as a person. Your economy is shut down on you for that period. That is what a lot of us Nigerians are going through. We don't have the 9-to-5 job, not in the private sector, neither in the government sector. So the hike in prices of things is becoming unbearable for us. Some of us cannot buy, we cannot take money, reasonable chunk amount of money to the market and afford anything again. I'm telling you that what you used to buy for 12,000 before, because of the hike in price now, because of the inflation on the people, you can't buy it for 12,000. It's about 25,000 now. Now you on your own, you don't have 25,000. You depend on the 12,000 to survive, to continue that business. How do you survive? Now, some people will come out and tell us on air. I mean, some dignitaries are coming out to tell us, people who are enjoying, telling us that we should not go ahead with the strike, if not, so that hoodlums will not hijack it. They are comfortable. Of course, when people are comfortable, they don't feel what you are feeling. They will not complain like you are complaining. So if they are telling us not to come out to protest, they are telling because it doesn't affect them. They are the comfortable people. I'm still waiting for more like that, more of them like that, to call and support the government. The truth
all right.
is, I'm talking to Nigerians now. Yes, let me round up. I'm talking to Nigerians now. My fellow Nigerians, those of you that know that you work you depend on business to survive, not even salaries from any private or government office. Come out and protest as yourself. For yourself.
All right.
Represent yourself. Don't mind the NLC or the TUC. Come out and say Nigerians.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's see another caller.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. My name is Samuel Saleson.
Go ahead, Salisu.
My state, the democracy we are practicing in Nigeria. If we look about this democracy and military government, in democracy they loot our money a lot. Our money was looted too much. And we see the military government is better than this democracy because only way the democracy will like democracy that will have freedom of speech. But the problem is that we are dying, even have a freedom, so we are dying slowly. And we are praying to not die because the way this thing is going, people are suffering. There's no way how to divide the economy today. And when Obasanjo come, he tried to manage Nigeria very well. We are happy. But these people now, when they are coming now, they don't have a good heart. They don't even know how to manage the economy at all. So the problem is going down, problem every day. So we know it is better that we have a military government that have a good heart than this democracy. So this democracy is a gambler, not a good democracy.
All right, alluding to a benevolent dictatorship, military with a good heart, which one have you had in the past enough for you to want to go back? In the history of Nigeria, what benevolence have you seen with the military enough for you to even think of embracing it in the first instance? It's not a Thomas Sankara situation or Lee Kuan Yew situation no, Lee Kuan Yew was not even there, but the guy in Rwanda. Let's not delude ourselves as if we do not know our Nigerian history. But, it's just a sign that the democracy is not given the dividends that people really want to see, and is an indictment, really, from the umpire to the citizens to the key players in our democratic space to saying we're failing on what it should be. We shouldn't be at a juncture where we should even be contemplating which is better between the military or the civilian administration. It's an epic fail that we're even thinking it or saying it or trying to compare notes between how we've been governed by these two types of government. So it shows that there's a lot of work that needs to be done to making democracy truly one that no Nigerian would even think for 1 second of having an alternative form of government, because it's a model that is effective for us. Might not be perfect, but at least effective enough to run the affairs of the country.
It's almost 25 years of democracy in Nigeria. And by now, even though we would say it's really young, you would assume that it could have gotten better at this point or things would have changed. But it's as though there's no difference to what we've had. If anything, it's gone from bad to worse. And the question is, again, what are these dividends that we should be expecting from those who are democratically elected into these various offices? Do they even know what the deliverables are? We had the president say every ministry will have its KPIs, and after a few months there'll be reviews on that. Maybe that would help them sit up and help us in good time get to see these deliverables and the dividends of democracy eventually. But I mean, it's a long time for growth, but that growth seems to be stagnant, and it just keeps asking the question, are these leaders really knowledgeable as to what they're doing? Do they have the best interest of Nigerians at heart? Do they know what the average person is going through? But these are Nigerians. They don't fall from the sky. They did not come from a different country. They've lived here long enough to know what the average person needs, what the basics are, and how they can go about it. But what exactly is holding them back from doing the right thing, in quote? I think it's important to interrogate these things. I know maybe the system is not free-handed enough to allow them be able to do the best that they know how to do, and that is why it seems as though they are misbehaving and not doing what was expected of them. All of these questions need answers, and I hope that eventually, when that review happens, we'll see those who are not doing right or who are not delivering on their job or doing the best that they can being reshuffled and replaced by those who we believe will be able to sit up and do what is required.
Indeed. All right, let's take one more call or two just before I go for the break. I think, there's no break, so let's just hear more calls.
Good afternoon.
Itodo and the team, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Ayaka Schneider in Abuja.
Go ahead.
Even though I was not, I've not been opportunity to suffer in the hand of military, I will not call military to come and take over. But what we are against is a democracy that people are not feeling the dividends of democracy. It's too much. Talking about the National Assembly, they want to buy car of 130 million, 160 million, a single person, and Nigeria are crying of hunger. They should have human thinking, human heart. It's a talk of a democracy where they will come with the caterpillar, they will scatter the whole business you are doing, where you are managing your life. Is that a democracy? That is why people are calling to people, the other one to come, the other. Please, if all these things are being put in place, nobody will come for anything. And in a situation where we find ourselves business, last time people fight for market because of the price. In fact, this time around, if you carry your money, your thousands of money, go to market. If you go there, you say that thing you right to buy, you cannot buy it half. You cannot buy it half. The worst part that The price are increasing every day by day. What is the problem? That is where we are stranded now. That is where we are stranded. What is the problem? Is what we ask. They should find out the problem because it is your turn to rule. It is your turn to make Nigeria well. Thank you very much. I have another reservation.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Kim and Itodo.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Chris. I'm calling from Central Area.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Itodo, for the 60 years of my life, I think it's just the first coup in Nigeria that I did not witness because I was just very, very small then. But every other coup and counter coup, it always started this way. From the...
Good afternoon. We can barely hear you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Itodo.
Yes, welcome.
The Oracle, I greet you.
You're welcome.
Digital Oracle, my name is DJ, and I'm calling you from Kagini.
Go ahead,
sir.
DJ.
I want to know if you can see the future from your Oracle, or please
No.
ask the
Things
cause
are very cloudy in Nigeria. I can't see anything. So just go ahead and help yourself.
I'm asking this because of the planned protest they are trying to embark on. I'm not discouraging it. However, I want everybody to do whatever you want to do peacefully because the moment the LSC starts this whole thing, can they control it? That is the problem. Because a lot of people are angry. So they can exert their anger on innocent Nigerians. I remember years back, while I was still young, when they did Babangida Must Go, in my own very eyes, I saw where people were diving and jumping on top of a Coca-Cola vehicle. They brought the entire vehicle down. A vehicle that was traveling past my area then, they brought it down. And in this Abuja, when they did protest last time, I recall when people went into a car dealer shop, they burned out several cars. Who will pay for those cars? They've inflicted untold hardship on the owners of those vehicles. Why? This is my fear. I'm not against anybody coming out to protest, but the NSC cannot even protect the Agberos, other people that will take advantage of this whole thing to mess other innocent Nigerians up. And again, if you look at
is it on the NLC, on security agencies, to do the needful at this point in time?
Security agencies are not the one calling for strike. NSC are the one calling for strike.
Is it the NLC's job?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's one thing for a civilian group to call. It's another thing for the security personnel in the state to ensure that it goes as it should.
Digital Oracle, if you look at it worldwide, the security personnel are not coming out to protect you because they are not telling you go and protest. You are the one saying you want to protest. As such, ensure you do it within the confines of peace. So if this thing spills over, that is where we are looking at, because it will not become an issue between the police and the people that is hijacking the process. So if the police are not bringing a canister and water to spray people, it will not look as if they are against the protesters. That is the area I'm coming out from, because it will affect ordinary Nigerians again, ordinary citizens. They will pack this. So if they see a shop where people are selling, you will see them running into that shop to loot or to destroy. Before the police will even come and protect or try to salvage the situation, it would have gone out of hand. That is why I'm saying, can NLC themselves protect first of all? Can they stop the people from harassing or treating place on other Nigerians? That's my own area.
All right.
Well, I want to believe NLC can on its members, but they can't on infiltrators who are going to hijack or who would plan to hijack if indeed it does happen, because we always beat that drum whenever there's a gathering of people and a call for protest on its own to saying, oh, people will hijack it. And it sells that fear, and it, invariably just keep people indoors, not to come out at the end of the day. Just like you find with the NSAS. Looking at the classic 2012 Occupy Nigeria, why was it an effective model then?
Because everyone was a bit understanding of what was going on, and they wanted to, have one voice and achieve that. So maybe that was why it was peaceful, largely. But let's go on the break. Dorcas is here with the news. Well, people
even died there. There was a couple of people who died, who were shot at and all of that. So you always have it happen. Let's go on that break then. We'll be back in a bit.
On your way to work, in the midst of your daily activities, your Let's Talk station is here to keep...
Hello.
My name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Hi everyone, my name is Swat. That's the name my father gave me, but you can always call me Her Vocal Majesty. I'm the host of The Sunny Side on 9.